Hey everyone, this is Sunny Justice with It's a Crime and Shame. So you're going to listen to two video clips. One is going to be in reference to Ted Bundy, and the other one's going to be in reference from 10 to Life, talking about a message that she received. And that reference would be obviously to Bryan Kohberger. Now, if you do hear It's a Crime and Shame throughout the voice clips, that acts as a watermark. So people can use this if they want to, but I put a watermark in there using my voice.
Karen Chandler was in the front of the house, bleeding profusely from her face. Every bone in her face was broken.
One of the girls was stabbed 54 times and beaten so badly that every bone in her face was broken and so sunken in that she was unrecognizable.
Let's take a look at some early similar connections between Ted Bundy and Bryan Kohberger. Now, although Ted Bundy is known for being a serial killer, Bryan Kohberger was probably well on his way to becoming one. So you had what Ted Bundy had done to one of the victims at the sorority house, and then you heard 10 to Life read a text that was given to her about what happened that night of November 13th, 2022. Now, in each of the sorority houses, there was 4 victims. Of course, with Ted Bundy, 2 of those victims had lived. Now, in the Kohberger case of the Idaho4, it's a knife. Ted Bundy used a blunt object. But we are talking about 2 different time eras as well. But it's about the similarities of whether or not Bryan Kohberger was mimicking, emulating some of who Ted Bundy was. We all know that there's copycat killings out there. But we also know that each of them would want their own thumbprint to say, look, I did this. I did this. I maybe mimicked this, but I put my own twist on it, and this is how I did it. It is very eerie when you look at Ted Bundy and Bryan Kohberger, how much they look alike. Of course, that does not mean that Bryan was for sure mimicking Ted Bundy, but it is very strange and eerie how much they do look alike. So here again are some more similarities. You have Ted Bundy, who had a major in psychology. And he also went to law school, but then dropped out due to his spree that he went on with women. Then you have, of course, Bryan Kohberger, who has a master's in criminology and also a major in psychology. So you have 2 very intellectually bright people here. Now, the thing that they said that has made Ted Bundy a very lethal combination is that he has the ability to charm you, come off as charismatic and very sociable, engaging. And then you have the ability to be able to look at somebody and then turn into evil. Then you have Bryan Kohberger, who, according to a friend, made the comment that he could have any lady he wants. Again, somebody that is narcissistic, thinks that they could probably have this, thinks that they could have. I think the difference, though, between Ted Bundy to Bryan Kohberger is that to probably Ted Bundy, he actually believed it more so than Bryan Kohberger did about himself. Okay, so let's recap for a moment here. So we have what was said in the audio that I played at the beginning of this video, and how distinctively, almost verbatim, what was said about Ted Bundy and in the Kohberger case. We also have the fact that they both majored in psychology and they were in law school in criminology. We also have the fact that there was sorority houses involved, in which case it housed 4 members that were involved in each of these slayings. We also have the fact that both of them are strikingly similar to each other. So again, these are just similarities, and this is my own personal speculation of what my thoughts are. And my thoughts are that regardless, behind every child, there's different personality traits. And it's a matter of nature and nurture. And I think that both of them, myself, had female issues. That there was some sort of resentment towards females. Now, did Bryan Kohberger pick out the sorority house just because simply it housed females? And perhaps he was emulating Ted Bundy? Perhaps, or perhaps not. Ted Bundy clearly had issues with his mother, and finding out that that was not his sister, but actually his mother. And I think the same goes with Bryan Kohberger. I don't really know his family in that sort of sense, only by some of the things that have been said on that forum. And mostly, which was said, was that, he said things like, I can have any woman I want. And he seemed to have, issues, obviously, with his weight and the different things going on in his life, which probably, again, internalized as female anger issues. Now, typically, like anyone that starts losing weight, it starts to build up their confidence level. And then, of course, obviously, when you have more confidence, obviously this stronger you personality starts coming out, because now you have what you feel is, the body that you think is more respectable, that people will be more attracted to, i.e. females. But I don't think that this still lost his urge to want to become possibly the next SK, obviously serial killer, out there. I think that he still had his desires to do that, and kind of like Ted Bundy, who was engaging, who was charming, who was, what people think of as good looking, is that those urges in you and the anger that you have are still there, no matter if you're heavier or if you've lost weight. And again, it just seems like, for me personally, I think that those urges led both Ted Bundy and Bryan to major in psychology and people's minds and how they work. And I also think that they took those courses like in law, and Bryan applied to be a police officer. I think it was to fulfill that dark side of what they were wanting to do. Probably being in law, it was almost like perhaps in his world, he thought it might give him the ability to achieve some of those things. Like, let's just say, for instance, perhaps, accidentally I shot somebody, but made it seem like it wasn't accidental, that the person was going to attack him, so he had to defend himself. That's how I see kind of that being used. Again, this is just my own speculation. Tell me your thoughts in the comments of this video. I would appreciate it very much, and thank you for your time. Please give this video a like, share, and if you're not a subscriber, please consider becoming a subscriber. Thank you so much.